I want to talk about a Gemara. We've traveled from the Chag of Sukkah, and there's a Gemara about the mitzvah of Sukkah, but I want to talk about this Gemara in context of Avram Avinu. In context of Parshas Lech Lecha and Avram Avinu. The Gemara in Avodah Zarah Daf Gimel. The Gemara describes that the Goyim are going to gather to Hashem. They're going to say, T'na lanu me'reish v'nasena. The Goyim are going to tell you, when we're getting tremendous schar la'asad lavai, the Goyim are going to come and say, give us mitzvahs and we'll do it also. If we have opportunities for mitzvahs, give us mitzvahs and we'll do it also. And the Gemara, it's a Gemara, it's kedai to learn. We're not going to learn the whole Gemara, and we want to make the buses. But the Gemara says that Hashem ultimately gives them mitzvah kala yeshli. I have an easy mitzvah, and let me test the goyim with this mitzvah. Sukkah Shmai, the name of this easy mitzvah, calls it a mitzvah kala, an easy mitzvah sukkah. L'chuva asai, so let me see you do it. Let me see you do the sukkah. What are you telling about? Nothing. So Hashem says to the Goyim, I have an easy mitzvah, and let me see you do it. And the Gemara says, each person's going to go and build a sukkah. Sheikah, the Goyim are going to build a sukkah, says the Gemara in Avodah Zarah Daf Gimel. They're going to make a sukkah b'reish gaga. They all make a sukkah. Hashem's going to take out the sun. It's going to be a blasting sun. It's an appropriate Gemara to learn that a day that's unseasonably warm. Here, that Hashem's going to take out the sun and make it crazy hot. The guy's going to leave the sukkah and give it a kick. The yaitz and leave the sukkah. That's what they're going to do. Frek the Gemara, what's wrong with leaving the sukkah? Yidden would also leave the sukkah. Mitzvah is patim in sukkah. Yeah, but you patim in the sukkah. Answers the Gemara, nay, the pater, granted you pater, bu'ute mi mavite. We're not going to kick the sukkah. A yid and a guy leaves the sukkah, but the guy kicks the sukkah and the yid leaves and he doesn't kick the sukkah. That's the Gemara of Avodah Zarah. So there's much to study. It's kedai to think about that Gemara Be'ez Hashem. Maybe we'll have times we'll think about that Gemara. But what I want to talk about the Gemara is when Hashem is mavchim between the guy and the yid. When Hashem wants to bring out what a yid is, He gives the mitzvah of sukkah. He makes them mitzta'er, and they leave the sukkah and they kick. And it bothered me. You're showing the difference, and the yid doesn't kick. So the difference, Hashem would differentiate the yid and the guy, is the guy leaves the sukkah and gives a kick, and the yid leaves the sukkah and he doesn't give a kick, but the yid's mitzvah. What's this? The differentiation that Hashem is showing to the yid and the guy. Show in the sukkah, the yid is sitting b'simcha in the mitzvah. What is this? The guy goes to the sukkah, it gets crazy hot. It's even funny to me. The Goyim said, give us a mitzvah, and let us show you our medal. Let us show you who we are. And Hashem gives them a mitzvah, but He doesn't really give it to them because He makes it crazy hot. So they're pater. What's happening here? So Moshe told me something from the Rebbe over Sukkot that I really want to share from Parshas Lech Lecha and really want to talk in our own lives. I want to talk about something that we study from Avram Avinu, a very, very, very important concept, something that's relevant to all our lives, Shlomo. And I want to talk about it like this. The Rebbe said about a yid, a guy could go to the sukkah and beseder. Now he gears himself up. I'm quoting what you said about, the way I understood from Rav Geisler. The difference in a guy and a yid, the guy goes to the sukkah, Hashem makes it crazy and he kicks, and the yid doesn't kick. The very mitzvah of sukkah is the mitzvah of bitachon. Lech Techachrai b'midbar beretz le'zarua speaks about the yid walking and marching with Hashem. Said the Rebbe Yosef that A guy, he can gear himself up and fire himself up for a certain condition. You tell the guy, go to the sukkah, and he'll go to the sukkah and he'll do an excellent job. Then he gets to the sukkah and it gets hot there and you sit down and putter. I thought this is my mission. I was focused to do this. I was willing to do this. I decided to do this. Now you change on me? The Rebbe said that the loyalty of a Yid and the avchana of the Yid and the Guy, in specific in Sukkah, that's a mitzvah, the tzelda amnusa, of a Yid's loyalty to Hashem, is Hashem first says this, and the Yid gears himself up, then it gets very hot. Oh, this is what you want. Okay, so I'll do this. Woo! The Yid's ability, I remember one year, and I don't say I passed in a sign at all, but I want to talk about it. You're excited for Simchas Torah. A Yid's fired up, and then a family member has to be in the hospital. Has to be in the hospital, Simchas Torah. A Yid can adjust, what do you want, Hashem? A Yid's loyalty is such, the Yid thought he's going to the Sukkah. Had a whole picture of how it's going to look. Then Hashem throws a curveball. The guy at that point kicks the sukkah. I'm out. I'm willing to be loyal. I can gear up and focus and decide this. The change, the complete, it's a level of loyalty that a Yid has that under all conditions I'm here, and the conditions can change. I'm loyal to you, Hashem. It's cool that Hashem did this by the mitzvah of Sukkah. That's a mitzvah of the Yidden walking with Hashem and going with Hashem and lech techachre b'midbar, following Hashem. Such is the loyalty of the Yid. Why am I bringing this now? Because Avram Avinu gets one of the nisyonis of Avram Avinu. Hashem in this week's parashas Lech Lecha, Hashem says to Avram, Lech Lecha me'aretzcha me'ladcha me'savicha, tremendous mesiras nefesh, go to Eretz Yisrael. And the first psukim of Parashas Lech Lecha is they got Eretz Yisrael. The next psukim, Vayhi Rav Ba'aretz, is a famine in the land. V'yed Avram Mitzrayim Lagosh, then he goes to Mitzrayim, Ki Kaved Rav Ba'aretz, because there's a big famine in Eretz Yisrael. And the loyalty of a Yid is precisely expressed in this way. This is the start of our people. This is mamish at the introductions to Avram Avinu. The Rebbeinu Shalom says, God Eretz Yisrael, you told me to come here. The Yid goes b'simcha and follows Hashem. And then Hashem, and now all of a sudden I go there, and now there's a famine, you want me to go here. The Yid's loyalty is not dependent on a certain place, on certain conditions. The Yid's loyalty runs deeper than the place, runs deeper than the conditions. We all know Ma'isa Avei Siman Lebanim. If we would study our people, what's remarkable about our people. I want to finish that thought. Once in a blue moon, I hear a guy, like I can only learn in Eretz Yisrael is amazing. We all have gagulim, tremendous cravings for Eretz Yisrael. But I hear somebody, we can only learn here. I can only do. Our relationship to Hashem runs deep, that it's not totally in one place. It runs much deeper than that. I thought I was going into the sukkah, and then it got very hot, and I saw it's not where Hashem wants me. So then He wants me to leave, so there I'll be loyal. So there I'll have, and that's the ability of the Yid, that deeper than any one condition, the guy can gear himself up to do a Maisa, but deeper than the one condition, wherever Hashem wants me to go, wherever Hashem sends me, there's a loyalty. This story of Avram Avinu, God Eretz Yisrael, he gets there, he sells a family, he's in Chutz La'aretz, just the story of a people that's a very, very traveled people. We're a people, we've been all over the place, we've been in Galus a long time, but what marked our people is a loyalty to Hashem. Years ago, there was a Yid from Eretz Yisrael, a Yid who wore tefillin all day, very beautiful Yid. And his Rebbetzin had passed away, and he was remarrying somebody in Five Towns. In Eretz Yisrael, he didn't speak English. And one of my friends asked him, he was hanging around the yeshiva I was zeicher to grow up in. He developed a kesher to my Rebbe, and he was hanging around. One of my friends said to him, it must be so hard not to be in Eretz Yisrael. The kid, he loves Eretz Yisrael, this Yid, but he looked at him funny, he lives with Hashem. He lives with Hashem. Now, of course, he wants to be in Eretz Yisrael, but he lives with Hashem. He lives with Hashem deeper. Rev Geisler this summer told us something. It sounds funny. He told us this on Tisha B'Av. We all crave a Beis Hamikdash. He said we don't need a Beis Hamikdash. Now, he wasn't trying to be memayit. Our want, l'shuascha kivinu kol hayom. We want a Beis Hamikdash. We want a place, but we're not tied to one spot, to one place, to one condition in our service of Hashem. It's not tied that way. And at the very start of our people, you read these psukim, we have Avraham Avinu's told, go there it's the best. L'toivascha la'anascha, Eretz Yisrael is the best for you. The best. And a minute later, psukim later, there's a famine in Eretz Yisrael, and he's out of Eretz Yisrael. Wow. It certainly is allowed to be that we have a space and a place that's the best, but our relationship runs deeper than the space, than the place. I've seen this in so many areas, so many areas of life. We're allowed to like a certain type of minyan, a certain Rosh Hashanah has a certain davening your lights. Let's say in your life you find yourself in a different place. The relationship to Hashem, the relationship to mitzvahs runs deep, very, very deep. In a certain way, Shlomo, the mark of the sukkah is the yid could have the sukkah outside of the sukkah. The yid goes in the sukkah, now he's in Einus, so then his sukkah is going to be outside the sukkah. That connection, what is sukkah? Loyalty to Hashem. Hashem told me not to be in the sukkah now. I'll tell you, I've said over this story before. I want to explain it better. I've told this story many times. I think to me, it's a story in my life that left a big impression. I'd like the guys to hear it. There was a group of Yidden in Eretz Yisrael who made their life's mission to protect Jewish graves. It's a beautiful mission. You have to picture they really care about Yidden. The kavod in a yeshiva that's a bastion of honor, they care about the kavod of Yidden, and they protect Jewish cemeteries. I'm always moved by that. Here you care about a Yid's not even alive, but doesn't matter, even a Yid is not alive, and there's respect to his body. And I could picture, it's very beautiful, the respect, let alone when a person's body is with their neshama. I always point out Raizon is such a massive figure in a revolution of respect for a Yid. His father, Rabbi Zon's father, is worldwide famous, has helped hundreds of Yid not get cremated, and has spent his life fighting for kavod achron of Yidden, for the honor of Yidden, to make sure Yidden have proper burial. He's a person who has taught. When I moved to Waterbury, well before Raizon was here 24 years ago, we the first people who moved here were part of the Chevra Kadisha. He came down, Raizon, from Queens, his father, to teach us how to be Noya Kavod Achron, how to bury somebody, how to take care of the body. Here's somebody at the front of a revolution of respect to a Yid, and his son is involved in the yeshiva, the revolution of kavod of a Yid, the dignity. A Yid here is respected, a Yid's appreciated, a Yid is treated with dignity here. So these people had a big idealism in Eretz Yisrael. They would care about Kfarim, a very special idealism. Amazing. Rebbe Yashiv made a psak shleima that the government could build a highway in a certain way over a kfura, Beis Olam, and people whose life was a very good thing, they attacked Rebbe Yashiv. They physically started throwing things at him, crazy stuff. Now, Rav Wolbe said very, very scary things in the mirror in front of 1,000 people. Rav Wolbe said it that the people who started up at the Yashiv, that these men, Rav Wolbe, every word was measured. He wasn't this person screaming. He said, these people, ein lem chelek lo'olam haba, pause, if they don't do tshuva. First of all, it was cool that he granted, of course they could do tshuva. Wasn't saying but those words that a gadol who's measured, who doesn't talk like this, he said they have no ilam haba. Now, what hit me then and hits me now, it was coming from sort of a good place. They made a very good mission for Kfarim. And I can even imagine it's frustrating. Here you have a tzaddik who made a psak, and it felt like your mission is somehow rejected, or you're this. We protect Kfarim. The ability to say, now Hashem's telling me something different. Now I'm going to protect. I'm going to have kavod. I'm going to have kavod for Yidden by respecting a Talmud Chacham, by letting a kever be treated without kavod in my eyes. But that's my avodah. The ability of a Yid was always to connect to Hashem deeper than this specific ma'aseh of connecting to Hashem. That there's a real relationship. I thought I was going to go in the Sukkah. Now I see that people have stories like this all their lives of thinking they're going to serve Hashem in a certain manner and then adjusting to what Hashem wants. So clearly the service is going to be different. A guy had a tremendous plan for Simchas Torah, how it's going to look, and a family member is sick, says Kavod Torah is going to be sitting in a hospital and having a Kavod Torah and a Simchas Torah in a different oifen. It runs deeper than this specific method. Avram Avinu's told that you should go to Eretz Yisrael, everything great is there. And he goes there, and then the sun comes out. I mean, there's a famine there, so he has to leave. And it's the same loyalty. So where you are, so I'm here. So I'm going to adjust. I'm going to figure out how I can connect to Hashem in this situation I'm in. This story, Avram Avinu, story is the story of Am Yisrael in all our history, and it's a lesson for us in our own journey, in our own avodah. We have big plans. My Rebbe described that there was a man, he had the best chavrus. He set himself up for a killer's man, like a crazy man. He felt he had like the all-time chavrusas, and Rav Aaron told him, "You're going out and you're raising money for Lakewood." It was they were dire circumstances. Rav Aaron sent him, I think, to St. Louis. He went around, like crushed his man. And he described like having to adjust, that this is my avodah, so I'm going to have a special zman, a special kirvus Hashem. In this manner, the Yid's open, he's allowed to have plans, he's allowed to have ideas, but then the Yid adjusts. This is the avodah, this is the circumstance Hashem wants. There's been the story from Avram Avinu, from the start of our people. Continuously, our whole nation is the story of our history, being in unexpected places, sent from country to country, and the Yid's loyalty and connection to Hashem that runs deeper than any one place, runs deeper than any one action. There's a loyalty. I'm here with you. We want to know what to do. Again, we're allowed to have plans and thoughts, but the adjustments to the conditions and the situations as Hashem wants it, and the willingness to adjust to those situations has always been the story of our history. So it starts from Mamish, from our Umfang, from the beginning. I love that my that I say overrides that Rav Geiser said in the Sukkah.
How would you know if if you should be changing your course or not? How would you know if it's Hashem? You don't know if it's Hashem saying switch or not.
Right, so I'm not getting involved you're right in decision. I'm talking about when it's just clear that there's right where it's clear. I'm talking where it's clear the ability to adjust to the new situation. My Rebbe would have to clever if Aaron, his Rebbe, told him and was mitzvah him. So then the ability. He could speak it out. Rav Aaron said he's going. That's it. I feel. So then the ability to adjust and the ability to say that my relationship to Hashem runs extremely deep. It's not tied to one place, to one condition. It runs deeper than that. I think that's the story of our people. It's always been the story of people. We certainly have places. We want to be in Eretz Yisrael. Avram Avinu wanted. There was a Rav, and that was the message of Hashem to leave. So then Avram Avinu's loyalty and serves Hashem with loyalty leaving Eretz Yisrael. This Ma'aseh of is similar banim that's been the story always of Am Yisrael. I think, Avi, like a lot of ties. Like when I think about those people who were doing the Kfura thing, they were doing such a good thing, but I think a little bit they forgot who they were working for. You could get lost in the task and forget the task is only because I'm working for Hashem. The point you're working for Hashem, so he says, can you do it a little different? Of course. I'm only doing it for you. I think all I'm really saying is to remember the mitzvah. I think what's this difference that you do it? Because if you forget the mitzvah, then the task is so important. We forgot if you're doing something for somebody and they say, I would like it a little different. Like, I'm only doing it because you like it. Sure, I'll do it in a different place. I only was doing it out of loyalty. I think when the mitzvah is forgotten, when the commander is forgotten, they took on a task forgetting the mitzvah of the task. So then when something was called to shift, something that was very important to you, if you're thinking about the mitzvah, so you say, now the Rebbeinu Shalom, okay, a gadol, a tzaddik, paskin, different, okay, so let me adjust. Till now we were promoting this and fighting. We'll make a quick adjustment. At the point that you forget about the mitzvah, you're locked in. Yeah. Yeah. There are many in our personal lives. There are many examples for ourselves of shifting, of maybe grabbing onto something that's massively important, and then it changes and plans change. But we're doing for the mitzvah. So if he changed the conditions, so then we accept the new conditions, the new missions, the new tafkid. This is the task that's incumbent upon us all, always. So it starts right at the Aschala. I've said over many times that story of Shimon ben Levi, who was traveling to Eretz Yisrael, thought his duty was one thing, and was able to adjust to a new mission. As it became clear he had a new mission, was able to adjust to that new mission. This is, all of us have many times. We're allowed to have one plan. Avi, I've given this example. A guy plans a certain type of Seder. Everybody dreams of a certain Seder Pesach night. And you could picture like the Seder, a certain type of Seder. I was talking to one of the Chevra about a Shabbos table. Everybody dreams of having a certain type of Shabbos table. Any serious Ben Torah wants a certain table. But let's say his kids have a different need for a different type of table. Could he adjust? Could he adjust to what the Ratz and what Hashem wants for the mitzvah? When he's thinking about when he adjusts to what the mitzvah wants. Welcome home, Yuri Longer. Welcome home. Excellent. Yeah. Making those adjustments. A guy is a plan. I picture a guy's a younger man in Eretz Yisrael. And him and his wife have a certain type of Shabbos table that's like, there's no sports ever discussed. It's a Shabbos table. But then fast forward 15, 20 years later, I have seen tzaddikim. I'm thinking of a specific tzaddik who's like an otherworldly type of yid, and he changed a lot. And he's expressed to people close to him. He's learned what Hashem wants. He has children. And he has to adjust. Does he try to force the same avodah? He's living in Eretz Yisrael. He's not paying attention to what the avodah, to what Hashem wants and Hashem asks. He has a certain intensity. Ignore what Hashem's saying. Is he doing that, or is he making adjustments? Now he has children, so the table has to change. Now Hashem's asking something different from you. Could he make a funnier table, a happier table, a more involved? He has this child, and this could he make adjustments or no? So many people, as people have families, so clearly you're being asked things. Could you change? Could you grow? There may have been amazing anhagas in the home that were incredible. It's amazing to live in Eretz Yisrael, but Hashem is asking you something different. That's exactly where a Yid is spectacular. That's exactly what we have from Avraham Avinu, that the conditions completely change, and the Yid's loyalty runs deeper than a certain way, a certain place, it runs deeper. So now there's no conditions. And the Yid finds with a tremendous simcha, he doesn't kick the sukkah, he's not, I'm out, that's it. He goes under the new conditions and develops under the new.
When does one know that it's something that you're supposed to say, okay, Hashem doesn't want this right now?
It's true. Avi says, like, if we would know, Avi and Sheikah are saying, like, if we would know Hashem wants it different, sometimes, yeah. We have to be open for that Hashem might want it different. At least let's be open, yeah. Right. But we have to be open. Sometimes we get stuck in something and it's evident to everybody else that there should be change. So then we have to be open. There's a mitzvah that's patim in Sukkah. The Yid goes out and then he has a beautiful sud in the bayis the way he's supposed to. Yeah. I like that this is the start of our people. This is the start of the loyalist, that it's deeper than circumstances. And he's told Eretz Yisrael is the place that he's sent out of Eretz Yisrael. What just happened? Deeper than the place, deeper than the certain way, is your relationship runs deeper. a lot of studying Torah, a tremendous chalik of studying Torah all of our lives, and we talk about Avi and Chika ask, how do you know what Hashem wants? A big part of our decisions in life is deciding what is what priority. There are a lot of good things to do in the world, but giving priority and importance to things. And we study Torah, we learn sugyas of Kedima. Tadir v'she'enei tadir kaidim. Sugyas, what comes before what, what's worth what. There's Gadol, there's Mekudesh, there are rules in Kedima. A youngster lives life, and he looks at it as like good and bad. Should I go to the rave or learn my chavrus? And there's certainly many nisyanis like that in our life. I can go to a good place, I can go to the bad place. Many such nisyanis. Should I head to Seder or should I go behind the forest and do an Andra Zachen? There's many nisyanis of doing something present and running away. There's many nisyanis. But I think the deeper nisyanis of our life are not good and bad, is good, two good things, but one is the thing we're supposed to do and one we're not supposed to do. The enemy of the best is the good. In a sign in life, you could do many mitzvahs, but who said you should do that? And it really becomes questions of priorities. Where do I spend my time? What do I do? And all these questions exist. It's amazing to me, Avram Avinu has a yeshiva. Avram Avinu has the most important yeshiva in the world. He has tens of thousands of people. Proportionate to the world, it would be analogous today of having a yeshiva of millions of people. Avram Avinu has a yeshiva that teaches Das Hashem. Avram teaches the men, Sari Imenu, the Nashim. It's the most important yeshiva in the world, Mamish. And Avram Avinu one day just shuts the yeshiva down. Avram hears, Ki Nishba Achiv, that his brother was captured. That's it. And the yeshiva shuts down. What? The yeshiva Mamish shuts down. It's a Pella. Here he has a place of Das Hashem, and in 1 second, Vayishma Avram Ki Nishba Achiv, he hears his brother was captured. It doesn't mean his brother, it means his brother's kid. Avada, the Achrayas was Haran, wasn't alive, and Avram Avinu felt an Achrayas to his brother, and he hears Ki Nishba Achiv, his brother was captured. Vayarik es Chanichav Yulidei Beisai, he arms his yeshiva, and they Vayir Doifadan, and they close the yeshiva and they fight. The Achrayas, it's his nephew. The Achrayas, a nephew, it's a Talmud, a wayward Talmud, and his Achrayas, his nephew. I'm always nishtaimim at that decision. But there's something else I wanna say to the guys, something that's important to me, that I wanted to share with the Chevra. It's important for every single person. Every yeshiva has to make a calculation. Every person, Rabbi Oberlander, Zechroina Levracha, after we would make an event, I was always very tired from the event, and right after, he'd want a cheshbon and go over what worked, what didn't work. I always wanted to wait a little. He wanted to right away go over what worked, what didn't work, how we could do it better. And he always wanted a chazer. It's important after you do something to size up what worked, what didn't work. Rabbi Brownstein Shlita, Langa Yon and myself, we chazer and we talk about things in the yeshiva. Is it being successful? Is it not? How successful? And certainly it's smart to measure, was it successful or not? That's a normal, healthy thing to do. Every yeshiva, people ask me, Daniel, in the yeshiva, what's the success rate in yeshiva? It's a very important question. It's a difficult question, because a guy could look the starkest. He's flipped out. He's so stark, and we could be nervous, sick, and feel it was a failure. We're very nervous about him. He could look a little struggling, and we feel mamish. He tapped into things, so it's complicated. Yet there still has to be cheshbonus. It's intelligent to ask yourself: is it being successful as best as possible? So we certainly do that, and it's important to do that. I want to say that Moshe Avram Avinu is probably an epic failure in his life is Light. Light's his prime disciple. Light's the biggest disciple, Yankov Avram Avinu. I say his biggest disciple when it says he traveled, Avram. It says Avram traveled, Yelchi Toilait, and all the nefesh, which Rashi says means his whole yeshiva. The only one who's given a name is Light. It leads me to believe he's keneged the whole yeshiva. Light is prime Talmud. And light is the Talmud who gets away by Yiparid light. But light separates. Light not just separates. He doesn't just leave Avram Avinu. He goes to Staim. He books out and goes to Staim the Hepech of Avram Avinu. It's the Talmud who got away. If anybody was counting a cheshbon, they would say this is a failure, an epic failure. So I just want to point out, and I want to say that Mashiach comes from light. That Mashiach comes from light. From light comes Amen and Mayav. From Amen and Mayav come Rus, and she's Ima Shel Malchus. And it's clear that all comes from something that was good in light, that light got from Avram Avinu. Wow. Now, my point is not to say in measuring successes and failures, we still have to, with human eyes, give our own opinions. And I'm not saying, I think it's also important to know, we don't know what people's tikkun is. I want Rebbeim, I want us to know, parents have told me on their children. A yid came to me like complaining about his children. They're not what I want them to be. I hear what he was saying, and a person has this, it's normal. I really ask him, does he know the tikkun his children are supposed to bring? What their avodah and their tikkun, their neshamas need, and the Rebbeinu Shalom wants from them? I think it's important, of course, there's measurements, and a person's allowed to have an opinion, and a person's allowed to say, you have to, in making anything, in creating a mishpacha, in running a yeshiva, you're allowed to have a vision, an idea, and a plan, and you have to measure it to some degree, but the importance of knowing that there's a lot we don't know about. Because if somebody was measuring Avram Avinu's yeshiva, and I'm sure there were many, many smashing successes, light would not have been put in the success category. No. And yet, what he had and what he gave over in some way, l'maisa from him, that's a fact. That from him, Mashiach comes to the world. Mashiach comes from light, that's a fact. And the word is that what he got from Avram was a real zach. He got things from Avram that mattered, that went to his children, went to future dairis, and caused a tremendous, tremendous impact. So even at times that we might look at something, that was a bust, that was a failure. I have seen events in yeshiva. Shlomo and I recently spoke about this. You run a lot of events in yeshiva and different things. Avi, we run camps and all different things, Avi, you do. There's sometimes you run something and it feels like it was a bust, and you're allowed to feel that way and study what you can. Also be aware that you don't know. Sometimes we'll make something and I feel it was a bust, and a guy said, Rebbe, that was the best thing we ever did in yeshiva. Made such an impact. Guys will tell me years later, it was so impactful. They'll tell me right away, years later. So be aware also. Be l'shem shamayim. Do things. Certainly you're allowed to cheshbon. All we could do is, la'adam, all the person has is what appears. Haniglois lanu v'neinu. All we have is what we see. Hanistaris l'Hashem. But also know, it's important to know that there's things in cheshbonis we don't know about. Avram Avinu, did he make adjustments? The Torah doesn't tell me. When light didn't work, did Avram Avinu say I have to make adjustments in my yeshiva? Unrecorded in the Torah. I don't know. I don't know what adjustments were made. The Torah doesn't say. So then it's not. Then I don't need to know that. It doesn't say it here. But I do want to say that when we follow the story of the Torah, Mashiach comes from light. And the lessons that when there's truth and sincerity has an impact, l'tayv, it has a massive impact, and in ways sometimes that we're not zeicha to see. It says, it calls teachers of children, Yuri. The pasuk in Daniel calls teachers of children, they shine, the matzdikei arabim, which the Gemara says is teachers of children, Chika, they shine kikoichavim ya'iru, they shine like a star. Why does it say, Martha, that teachers of children shine like a star? Say like the sun. The sun's a much more powerful light. It says that teachers of children will shine like the stars. So I want to claim, maybe, the light of the sun, you see the sun, and there the sun is, and it shines a light. By stars, I once read, when we see the light of a star, the star might not exist anymore. It takes a long time to get here. When you see a star, that star may not exist anymore. Because it's just by the time it got here, the star is long gone. The Matzdikei Rabbim have an impact. They're sincerity teachers of children long after they're gone. It's even the kid might not know it, by the way. The light shines long after the star is gone. You don't know They put a certain sincerity, a certain warmth. We don't know that third grade Rebbe, the encouragement, was excited to see us. Maybe even the kid. Sometimes the kid remembers, and maybe he doesn't even remember. But they'll shine like stars. Their light will have an impact long after they're gone. And it won't be so clear the light is coming from there. I always have a tremendous, tremendous respect for teachers of children, of young children. I appreciate them a lot. We need them. The impact, little kids are crazy vulnerable. And the impact of a warm, Rabbi Chika and I have spoken about this. The impact of teachers of children is huge. The difference, everybody who has little kids, Yuri, you'll see one day when you have little kids, oh my goodness. You send your son off, your little child, your little daughter off, and they have a good Rebbe, a good moral who's warm, who's loving, who's caring, who appreciates the kid. It's a lichtige year. And if it's not that way, it's very schwer. Little kids are very impressionable. Tiny little kid, very vulnerable, and they're open, they're very open, and somebody doesn't hold to them, somebody holds their all different zach, and they learn. You know how many guys here have told me on themselves, I was crazy when I was little. I always shiver from that line. Crazy? You were a good kid, you were lebedik. You weren't so easy in a classroom. I'm not saying it's easy. Where did he learn he was crazy? I was mamish, a bad kid. Well, you were fourth grade, you were lebedik. You were energetic, you couldn't sit still. I'm not saying you were the best behaved kid in the class, you were fourth grade. The kid learned from somebody's eyes, and that stays a long time. He learned what type of person he is. Kids are very, very vulnerable. The impact of somebody who sees a good person, behaves, doesn't behave, sees a gutta mensch, and sees a tayr and a shama, and is impressed, and is loving, and is appreciative, that impact is crazy, crazy impactful. Crazy impactful. The person himself, somebody respected him when he's young and put in a certain thing for life. Often we remember those people, and sometimes we don't even remember, but the impact is very powerful. Avram Avinu has a Talmud who goes wayward, who takes a tremendous detour, but Avram Avinu's impact on light, who went far away, Vayipared, and went far away, but ultimately that spark returns. It returns in the form of Mashiach, ultimately, in Rus and in Dairis later. So I wanna say this to all of us in doing good things in our life, in impacting, in creating things, to always know that when we put with sincerity, with authenticity, with beauty, we do something, we're allowed to measure, we're allowed to ask, do we think it's successful? But even that we measure, that we think in our measures that we didn't go as best, we want to make adjustments, but something sincere was done that has a massive impact. And as much as we're judging, there's a lot of things we don't know. Mashiach may come, that event, that thing you did, that Talmud who left, who knows? Rai Madlinger, Shlita Maishi, Rai Madlinger, who taught here for years, once came to my house, and he sat in my study, and he mamish was crying. He was crying about guys who came to yeshiva a short while, and they didn't stay. He was mamish crying. And on one of the names, I met a long time later, one of the names, there were names who left, the guy told me how much the yeshiva did for him. It was like such a chizuk, the contrast, I saw like a light maisa. From Rabbi Madlinger feeling that he got away, we didn't bring it to the success we wanted. To the guy years later, I was young, he couldn't stay, he had a lot swirling in his life, but he felt he absorbed something, the kid. I met him years later. And the contrast, Rabbi Madlinger crying in my study about one that got away, to the kid years later describing something he absorbed that stuck with him for life. So what's the lesson? What's the lesson to us? Put out sincerity. Put out sincerity. Don't jump so fast it failed, it didn't work. Oh, that was a blow up. Certainly we try to do as best as human efforts can in each thing that we do, but understand that sincerity has an impact. Avram Avinu taught light. Who knows how much Avram put into light, and he's the one that got away. Mashiach comes from there. good things happen. And Hashem teaches us this, and we're learning these parshas. We learn about light and the one who got away. And then we read later on, and we study Navi and know about Rus and Mayab, and we know what Mayab is from light. So then Hashem is giving us a window into the truth that Avram Avinu, with sincerity, taught light and saved light and fought an entire war for light. And good to Zachin happened. He saw Kinish Ba'achiv. He fights a war for light and saves light. Good things happen from this investment in the Talmud that in the external world appears to get away, appears to not work. But in Tif Aifanim, good things were being born. Good things were being built that ultimately caused Mashiach. Good Shabbos. Thank you, Rabbi Shlita. Thank you, Chica. Build a good elementary school. Thank you, Shlomo. We should do a Ma'ariv. It's a very good idea to do a Ma'ariv. It's not a bad idea to do a Ma'ariv. Or by the buses. We do. What time is the bus? 5:30?
We have a couple of options.
Where is that?